I think we're going to call this episode the 3-minute drill. Jeff,
Okay.
you're going to give me some questions from the bagpiping world, and then I'm going to give a response to those questions that takes no more than 3 minutes. And I think you told me you have 5 things. So that means this is going to be a 15-minute episode, right, Jim? Like, we're not going to get sidetracked
No
and go
sidetrack.
super long, and it's not going to end up as like a 51-minute episode, right?
Right. Oh, of course.
So this is going to be like short, sweet, to the point. This is for the efficient people, Jim.
That's right. We're here for the efficient people.
This one is for the listeners out there who like to cut to the chase.
Yeah, this is for the people who don't like a bunch of banter, a bunch of back and forth, a bunch of preamble before you actually get to it.
No more amateur philosophizing, no more bro science.
No more dad science either.
Right to the point.
Still an element of dad fashion. Never going to go without.
Never going to go away.
Yeah.
By the way, I haven't worn this shirt in a long time, and it's way too warm. But this is going to incentivize me to get this episode over quick.
Another reason to make it fast.
Yeah.
Is that enough of that gag? So thank you, r/bagpipes, for supplying some great material here. Question number 1.
Okay.
Question regarding forming a circle. Andrew, this person says, so I've been trying to rack my brain, but I cannot remember when I start to form the circle when marching in whilst at competition. Is it after the E, or do I wait for the first bar? Any answers are appreciated. What do you think, Andrew?
Okay. Good question. I remember specifically in the SFU pipe band, it was after the first phrase, we all moved. So there's a brief period of time where the band is marching in perfect formation, but it is brief. And then at a specific time, so in a tune like Tom McAllister, da tuckin tuckin da huddy da go, like we would go right there.
So if you get into where the circle is, you're still in formation, you're still in a block, and you just march in place in that block until that part of the tune, and then separate?
Not quite. So you would be in the square by the time you were marking time. So if you think of the line, right, you got the rolls, you're marching forward, you got the rolls, and then you got the first phrase of the tune, you're several steps in, and then you form your square. In the SFU pipe band, at least in my memory, we all went to our spot in the box after the first phrase. And then you continue to march in the box formation until you reach the circle area. And then, is that what the question is? Or is the question when do
you cut to the circle? But though I think all of this is relevant as well. But at what point do you then go to circle?
Yeah, good question. Now, see, I'm trying. I don't want to screw this up. I think what happens
is, can you do it different ways?
So one thing I know for sure, we can work backwards, is halfway through the second part is when a band will stop marking time, which means that you're turning into the circle as the second part of the tune begins.
And then you do your little shuffle left and right thing, get your spacing right.
Yep, and then you mark time. So basically, you're going to be marching into the circle. And you're going to stay facing forward in the box formation until the end of the first part. Then usually at the beginning of the second part, that's when everybody turns into the circle. And then halfway through the second part is when you stop marking time. And then you're standing in the circle. I feel like shots, certainly under Robert Matheson back in the day, I feel like they used to move into the circle way quicker than we did. So there are different ways. What I would recommend is watch the world's videos and just see what they do.
Yeah. So it's a thing that you can kind of do differently. It's not like a hard and fast rule that this is when you must do these things. These are just, your description here is what typically happens. Yeah.
Yeah. But you're always going to do something resembling that, though.
Yeah.
You're not going to do anything wild and crazy. You're not going to stay marking time until the third part.
Or until the end and then leave.
But yeah, something basically like that would be good.
You ever go straight for the circle right from the line? Like, here we are on the line, strike in, and everybody's just like spreading out and going right into a circle.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's basically what we do in Inverary. I think basically once we've struck in the pipes and we're playing the tune, people just move immediately over to the sides. I think. I don't know. When I'm, and I am now, so I used to be in the front rank where you didn't have to worry about this. Now, as I age, they're shipping me off through the back of the pipe corps. But now I'm in the second or third rank usually. And if I am in the middle, I just kind of watch what other people do and follow them.
Let's go with the flow.
So the premise in the SFU pipe band was like, we do the roll-offs, And then there's a brief period of time where we are marching in formation just because it looks good. And then you split off and everyone has a plan. And then, you turn at the same time and then you mark time at the same time. Okay, that's got to be 3 minutes, Jim. I mean, I don't think we
I'm
can.
sure.
I'm not sure we can spend much more time on that, but I hope I answered the question.
All right, next one. Learning milestones? Hello. I've only been learning on the practice chanter for about 6 weeks, getting kind of a late start because I'm 39. I was wondering how long it took people to get a solid grasp on the different embellishments, general grace notes, tackums, doublings, etc.
Yeah,
I've played
this
brass
is triggering
instruments. Yeah, I thought
alert.
I knew this would generate some discussion. I've played brass instruments for close to 30 years and am used to being very comfortable on an instrument. So it's almost as much a mental hurdle learning the pipes as it is a physical hurdle learning everything. I know everyone is different, but just wondering how long it took before you had the different embellishments nailed down. Thanks.
Okay. I've been playing for 32 years, many of those years at the very highest levels, and I still don't have my embellishments down.
Mm-hmm.
So
maybe a redirection for like goal or expectation is
well, and then the real thing that triggers me here is if he's a beginner on the practice chanter. So the fact that we're trying to master all of our embellishments right now is sending off major red flags. Rather than mastering the embellishments, it's way more important. Jim, it's way more important to get the other stuff right, the simple stuff. Learning the different rhythms and learning to control the rhythms with rhythmic accuracy. And before you say or think things like, oh, I've played trumpet, so I understand rhythm already. I got it, but we need to understand rhythm. We need to get absolute accuracy with the rhythms, and it's more important for pipers to be rhythmically accurate than trumpet players. Fact. So much of what we do is tied into exact synchronization of timings. So rhythm is important. Make sure we're really working the rhythm in the context of the piping stuff we're doing. Then we got to get the note changes nice and clean, okay? And we got to get those grace notes super crisp and infinitely small. Like those are the things that we need to be doing in the first several months of learning the practice chanter. And I'm talking now from the perspective of the teacher. That's what we need people to be doing, okay? And then where the learner is concerned, what I would be recommending is learning a lot of different tunes of different types, mostly or completely simplified without embellishments. To get used to
melody
the rhythms.
only or close to it, right?
Yeah. And that's what I would recommend. And I get it. Embellishments are cool. And I have nothing against previewing a few embellishments or, playing some tunes with a couple of D throws in them and whatever. But I get the vibe from this question that this person is like playing all the different types of embellishments and working on that. And rather than focusing on embellishments, we want a lot of experience with the basic elements.
It sounds like the way that I used to teach and the way I learned too, that step 1, play the scale. Step 2, learn every single embellishment. Step 3, start getting on the bagpipes.
Yeah.
Sounds like that might be what's going on.
Yeah. And you should get on the bagpipes before you learn your embellishments, like with a star, right? Like I would way rather see you learn several tunes on practice chanter with no embellishments, just nice and simple, basic grace notes, get the tunes. And then that is where I would switch my focus to bagpipe mechanics. And then as we learn the bagpipe mechanics, we'll also be continuing to learn our fingerwork, slow and steady in parallel. And then, it'll start to come together for us at that point. But embellishments are like, that's an icing on the cake thing.
And it probably goes without saying, but what you're describing as what we ought to be focused on in the first few months, rhythmic accuracy, clean fingers, and crisp grace notes, that's all gonna, of course, make the other embellishments much
more importantly,
more doable.
More importantly, not being familiar enough with those things and not having those like to a complete level of unconscious competence. That's going to be what makes the embellishments not good. And it's going to be what engrades bad habits and so on, right? Like embellishments are icing on the cake. They're not necessary for making really nice music. They're just not. Pipers say they are, but they're not. Okay. And so they're icing on the cake. And so that's the sort of thing we want to add in once the cake itself is delicious. Once the cake is delicious, then let's get artsy fartsy with the decorations. That's the general vibe. I have more I want to say on that, but that's my 3 minutes.
Okay. Next one, band polos or short sleeve shirts. Speaking of dad fashion.
Yeah.
Our band is looking for a short sleeved shirt of some kind for these super hot days out on the field. Does anyone's band use polos or other short sleeve shirts? Our regular competition uniform is a long sleeve with a vest and tie, but we want something more breathable for those 95+ degree humid days. Thanks. You ever do polos or t-shirts or something for a performance situation, Andrew?
I certainly have. Are we talking about competitions or are we talking about just generally speaking?
At first, I thought they must be talking parades, but then they said on the field, and that made me think, oh, maybe they do mean for competitions.
Yeah. So I think the USPBA just passed a rule that it's now legal to do that.
Oh, really?
If all the polo shirts match, it's now legal to wear polo shirts. Now, I don't remember the details, so don't quote me on this. If you're a USPBA member, look it up, because there might be a stipulation like, if the temperature is above X.
Yeah, they're going to invest money and show up to compete, and they're going to be like, oh, you guys are disqualified. And they're going to be like, Andrew Douglas said we could do this.
So don't do that. That would be seriously annoying, because that's not what I'm saying. But we did just pass a rule. I know it's like a thing. Bands are doing more. So
one note, maybe it's obvious, but Garden Valley that I play with a couple years ago, we got polos for parades. And just before you place the order, if you want to, like we decided to have the logo, the crest on the polo, done on the right breast so that the average drone isn't covering it.
Yep.
Of course, left-handed players, it's then going to get covered on the right side. But
hopefully you don't have too many left-handed players, though.
I mean, what are they doing anyway, right?
What are they doing? They're just messing up the counter march.
Yeah.
Okay, just kidding. By the way, I made a comment.
I'm totally joking too. Yeah.
I made a similar joke. about the ES session chanter in a recent episode. And then let's just say I got emails, but I was just joking. And I think they knew I was just joking, but they're kind of like, hey, we're listening. Yeah. So anyway, left-handed pipers out there, we love you. We love you.
Yeah.
Just
please
like,
join the band.
Come on. But also, we love you.
Yeah.
So anyway, I digress. I can't remember how long we've been spending here. So I think you are allowed to do the polos now, which is cool. Mm-hmm. What do I think about the polos?
What if we go even more informal, though? Would EUSPBA's current rule that you think might be there, does it allow for like t-shirts? Could we do matching t-shirts?
It's so tempting to say we should just allow people to wear whatever they want and blah, blah, blah. And like the t-shirts and this. But it's like also, I don't know. Maybe it's just nostalgia or something. But I like the button-down shirt and I like the tie. I feel like it's a thing that pipers do and there's no good reason not to do it. By the way, you can get really lightweight shirts and just throwing it out there on by the way, I think it might have been Dave Hilder, famous pipe major, Triumph Street Pipe Band, RSPBA judge, and he's a guy that we used to hang out a lot when I was in Vancouver. I think it was him that said to me, when it's really hot, I want a long sleeve shirt, not a short sleeve.
I've met people like that before too, yeah.
Because actually, like, it's not actually any hotter and you're not going to get badly sunburned on your arms. I don't know. Is this whole thing like, the whole thing is a ploy to not have to wear a dress shirt.
Yeah. That's what we all want. We all want to get away with not having to put that tie tight around our necks.
Right. Yep. So anyway, I don't know.
How about matching back tattoos, Andrew?
I'm all for
Shirtless with matching back tattoos.
I'm all for it, but I don't know. I'm not a tattoo guy. It seems like a lot of pain just to have something irreversibly
awesome.
branded on your body.
Well,
I do respect a good tattoo. Like, I used to not respect a good tattoo.
Are you thinking, when you say good tattoo, are you thinking like a really cool idea, or are you thinking like amazing artistry in execution?
Exactly. Amazing artistry, done well. Like, sometimes you see tattoos and you're like, wow, that's pretty nice.
What do you think of this? My brother has illustrations from a medieval fighting hand-to-hand combat.
I'm already skeptical.
Thing.
Yeah,
he's got one knight with a pole arm or something here, and another knight with a spear right here, so he can go like that, and they fight. What do you think?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool, right?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right, next question. How do you tell when your bag needs seasoning? Then the person says, hello, title explains it. Tell me what you think. This person does say that they have a sheepskin bag. But yeah, how do you tell?
Okay,
Question one, is it synthetic? It doesn't need seasoning. Question two.
So the answer to this question is both very simple but also the rabbit hole goes quite deep.
Yeah.
Okay. So if your bagpipe is not absolutely perfectly holding air, then it probably needs seasoning. Mm-hmm. So the first thing you'll do, you'll take the bag, put corks in the stocks, blow it up as tight as you possibly can. You should not be able to blow any more air into that bag after 30 seconds. If you can blow more air into the bag after 30 seconds, that means it needs seasoning, basically. But then there's a lot of details.
Yeah.
Right? The details include such things as, have you just not played your pipes for the last 10 days? In which case it might not need seasoning. It might just need some moisture to reactivate the seasoning.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is you have to make sure not to over season the bag. You can't just season every 7 days.
Yeah.
So we have to do a good enough job with our seasoning that we don't need to be seasoning every 7 days. I have a random YouTube video that I made a long time ago that I highly recommend people check out for how I season my bag.
I'll see if I can find it and put it in the, like a thumbnail of it in the video here.
I superheat my seasoning. I rub it into every crevice, and you have to get near the stalks. The base of the stalks tends to be where a hide bag leaks the most, but you have to hit all those spots with the seasoning, and then I kneel on the bag and bounce up and down on that sucker so that the seasoning is forced into those little nooks and crannies at a far higher pressure than you'd ever get when you're actually playing. But by doing like a hardcore seasoning, so to speak, that makes it so I don't have to season that often. It lasts for a while. Bags that are over seasoned are going to die a lot sooner. And you're also going to be at high risk of seasoning mishaps of various kinds, like the seasoning dripping all over your reeds and getting all over the inside of your stalks and like blah, blah, blah. And I have had those mishaps at really bad times, less because of over seasoning and more just that you want to look inside the stalks and you want to brush out any seasoning clumps that clump up at the base of the stalks, because otherwise you can get nasty drips. But anyway, so how do you know when the bag is not perfectly airtight?
Solid. Last question for you, Andrew.
We're doing good. I mean, we're
doing all right.
We're not at 15 minutes, but.
Sporran not big enough. My sporran is not big enough for my phone, keys, and walker. I don't know what a walker is.
Phone, keys, and wallet. I bet you.
Wallet. I bet
you
you're
it's
right.
an autocorrect for wallet.
Yeah, I bet you're right. What else could I use while marching in a parade? I personally, you're going to hate this. I know you're going to hate this, Andrew.
God, I'm going to hate it. I hate the question.
I've done camel packs in parades before. So then I have water available to me, but it's also a backpack. Though I got one that was the same color as my vest. It kind of did blend in with the vest.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to tell you what I do. You want to know what I do?
Yeah. What are the secrets?
Because it's actually a good question.
Are you about to tell us that you have a page boy who follows you around carrying all your stuff at all times so you don't have to worry about it?
This is what I do. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you what I do. You want to hear what I do?
What's that?
Let's do this. So it's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's what I do. I'm going to tell you what I do. I'm going to tell you what I do.
Wait, Andrew, would you tell us what you do?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what I do. Here's what I do. Get the pipes going, right? Get the pipes going. Things are happening, so on and so forth. And then when it's time to leave the car, okay, here's what I do. The car key, singular key, off the keychain, into the sporran. Teeny weeny key, no big deal. All my other keys go in the pipe case. Zip it up so I don't lose
it. Sounds simple, but we don't always think of these things. That's
so I got a teeny, now I got a teeny weeny key in the sporran.
A teeny weeny key, gotcha.
Now the wallet, okay, first of all, my wallet is very small. I'm a wallet minimalist because I struggled with wallet maximalism for years. Now I'm a wallet minimalist. But a license and 2 credit cards in case one of them doesn't work. So 1 license, 2 credit cards, and then $20 if you're planning on going to the beer tent. Okay? So how much is that? Very small. Sporran, remainder of wallet, pipe case, zip it up next to the keys. And then the phone goes in my right hand vest pocket. You cannot put the phone in the sporran because it weighs the sporran down quite considerably.
It does, yeah.
Which sucks. So the phone goes in the right waistcoat pocket.
That is something to consider for any bands that are outfitting with uniforms. Like, I've had a vest with pockets that were non-functional, and that's silly. Like,
by the way, some of them seem non-functional, but some of them are sewed shut.
Yeah, you can unpick them.
And all you have to do is get rid of that little protective string, and then they actually do work. So sometimes people think their pockets don't work, but they actually do. But yeah, so the phone goes in a vest pocket or a jacket pocket or pocket of a rain cape. When I'm at the Worlds or at a major or something like that, the phone won't even come with me for that.
Don't want to risk it.
Yeah, and I don't need it. I'll be back and reunited with my phone in an hour. You're right, though. The weighed down sporran is definitely lame.
Yeah, that does stink.
Nobody likes it. Nobody wants it.
You want to know something really silly? I mean, I think I'm remembering this accurately. I guess it could be a false memory, but when I was in high school, we had those long horsehair sporrans,
Brutal.
the ones that smell terrible when it rains.
Yeah.
And the bus rides home from rainy gigs were really stinky.
And
And they weren't functional sporrans. They were purely decorative. There
Yes.
was no bag at all.
horsehair sporran's terrible.
What a silly thing, right? We had to brush them out and stuff like that. Ooh.
I'm sure there's a cool historical significance to the horsehair sporrans and everything, but yeah, our Highland gear is actually pretty functional these days.
I'm into that.
I even have the diabetic orthopedic ghillie brogues now.
Oh, do you?
Which, you know, the name that I
That's
know
what they
of,
call it. Yeah, the diabetic orthopedic ghillie
Yeah,
brogues. That's
but
all
they're
right.
amazing. They're amazing and so practical. And it's almost like wearing really nice looking sneakers around the
Yeah.
games. So I don't know. It would be nice to have super nice dressy ones, but it's just not practical enough. So
Have
I
you
just
ever
don't.
seen or tried the Glen Airy hat? It's like mesh.
I've seen it.
So it looks like a Glengarry, but it's like mesh, so it's just breathable.
Yeah.
I don't have one, but I want one, dude. I get way too hot at games.
Yeah. So the sporran game, you know, it's an annoying question, but also you're right. I deal with this and that's what I do. And by the way, I do the same when I go out on a date. Like when my wife and I go out, it's the same basic vibe, right? I want the absolute minimum so I can just be comfortable in my clothes and I'm not weighed down by all my dad stuff. Because I use the lanyard for the keys. That's how much of a dad I am. I don't want to bring that out on date night. And I certainly don't want them in the sporran. So I just take the car key that I need, put it in the sporran. And then I'm traveling light at that point.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite Family Guy gags was when Brian the dog gets married and suddenly he's wearing cargo shorts. And Peter's like, yeah, that's just part of it. He's like, well, what are all these pockets full of? He's like, keys. Keys to what? Sheds. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, man, that's about right.
Yeah. Well, and also, what are those pockets for? I don't know. I've never used any of these
Never used
pockets
them,
except
yeah.
for the normal pockets.
Decorative pockets.
I loved cargo pants, but when I met my wife, it was made explicitly clear cargo
Yes.
pants would no longer be a thing.
I used to wear cargo pants with the zip off legs so I could zip them off to be cargo shorts too.
Yeah, that would
Really
fly.
awesome.
Yeah. I miss the old cargo pants.
Well,
you know,
you know.
what's, well, no, I can't say that on the air. Never mind. I want to stay married. I'm leaving it there. I mean, we're there, Jim. We did the
Yep.
thing.
Yep, we did it.
We're definitely under half an hour.
All right. Well, you know, we did. So maybe we didn't stick to 3 minutes strictly, but that was pretty close. It's pretty good.
Yep. Do we want to review what was the first one?
First one was
Might be overkill, but we're doing it.
forming a circle. How do you when
Oh,
do you
yeah.
move to form a circle?
Yep. And the answer to that question is just watch what grade 1 bands do,
Mhm.
and figure out what look you like the best.
Yep. Next one was learning milestones. When do you have all your embellishments down?
Yeah, please. I mean, I don't never do embellishments. I want you to do embellishments. Embellishments are cool. And if you think embellishments are fun, like, you should do them. Okay. But don't prioritize embellishments if you're only 6 months in.
Yeah.
It should be like a cool side hustle, but then your main focus is just get lots of experience playing simplified tunes and just playing the tunes, play some jigs, play a couple of simplified stress bass, play a couple simple marches, right? And as soon as possible, learn good bagpipe posture, basic maintenance, basic steady blowing, like work on that stuff first. We'll perfect the embellishments later if they can be perfected.
That'll be the ongoing journey for the rest of bagpiping existence. Yeah.
Yep.
Next one was band polos or some other short sleeve option.
Bleh. Yeah. And the answer to that was
Bleh.
bleh. Bleh.
Next one was how do you tell when your bag needs seasoning?
If it's not perfectly holding air, it needs seasoning.
And last one was sporran ain't big enough.
And I told you the thing I do.
Yep. Minimize
tell
what
you
you're
the thing I
carrying
do?
in it. And
I
some
told you,
pockets.
right?
Yeah.
I told you the thing I do.
Wait
right?
a sec. What was it again?
What you wanted? What I wanted to do is I wanted to tell you what I do.
Yeah. Which is wear 2 sporrans, obviously.
Don't do that.
One in the front, one in the back.
By the way, one thing that a lot of people hate that I'm okay with in certain situations is the water bottle holder that clips onto your belt.
Sometimes people will get pretty nice ones that they're made to match the belt and stuff like that. You fit in pretty good.
And I think I'm okay with that in certain situations. Do you need to be wearing it at the competition on a normal day that's not too hot? It's like, no. But if it's hot, I think I'm cool with it.
Especially for a parade or something like that. That definitely makes sense. You
Like,
want to
and-
see something funny, Andrew? Go ahead and keep talking if you want.
I'm not. I'm worried. Sometimes the things Jim finds funny, I find, Oh, here, I see a flask.
I got this.
Oh,
geez.
Oh.
I got this specifically for like funeral gigs and stuff because I wanted to look really professional. So I didn't want to have stuff hanging off my belt and stuff,
Oh, so you put water in that.
It's only for water. It's exclusively
okay.
for water. But the thing is, it's small enough that it fits into the breast pocket of just like a button-down shirt. So I can have it under the vest, So if I've been standing at the graveside playing for a while and the family is finally showing up, then I can be like, okay, I'm very thirsty already. I can take a quick swig. But I do have to be careful about who sees me doing so because I'm going to drive away afterward, And so it looks real suspicious, but it's real handy, though.
If you say so, Jim.
It's only for water.
Yeah. If playing your pipes for several minutes, if you really can't get through that without water, like, you should make your pipes easier to play.
Yeah, there might be other problems afoot.
Yeah, exactly. All right, sir.
All right.
Hey, everybody. Andrew Douglas here from the Pipers Dojo, and I just want to say thanks so much for listening to today's iteration of the podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard here today, it would be super helpful to us and to a lot of bagpipers out there trying to find us. If you could give us a top-notch review on whatever platform you're using to listen to this podcast, particularly Apple, iTunes, and Spotify and things like that, your review would be really, really helpful. So if you have a moment today, definitely go over there and help us out. Other than that, until we meet again on the podcast or somewhere else, thanks again for listening.